Greetings, beautiful people. Thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to 31 Days to Business Startup. Today we're going to be talking about business structure, and I've decided to split it up, and so I'm going to focus on nonprofit organizations today. So I'm all for people, when I meet a lot of entrepreneurs, people are always very, very interested in starting their own nonprofit organization, and I'm all for that. You know, nonprofits are some pretty important institutions within our world, and they do some really incredible and wonderful work. But if you're thinking about the idea of owning your own business and probably also making money, unless you've decided that making money is not that important to you, nonprofit organization may be the route that you take. But before you do, I have a question for you. Is your organization the only way to accomplish your mission? I think a lot of times we want to start these nonprofit organizations and we think, oh, this is the only way I can do it. This is the only way I can get the money. This is the only way I'm going to be able to do the kind of work that I want to do. And while that could be the case, quite honestly, but I wanted to challenge you to think a little more deeply about it, and perhaps you can create a for-profit business that has some philanthropic arm or philanthropic activities, and that could be a way to accomplish your mission as well. But for those of you that are determined to have a nonprofit, I want to say that, nonprofits are about the hustle, honey. I mean, you're going to have to be constantly, all the time, trying to raise money, which can be a little stressful and could be a little challenging for some organizational leaders. However, you could get lucky. You could have a single donor that pretty much provides you with the resources that you need to run your organization year after year after year. That's rare, but it does happen. But I just want to warn you, like if you're thinking about starting a nonprofit, much like running a business, nonprofit is about raising the money, right? And then for profit is about making that money. And so just keep that in mind. And just some other things I want you to keep in mind when you're considering your nonprofit organization is, who's involved. And I'll talk a little bit more specifically about what that means, and then what you will need to do. Um, and then you need to file certain paperwork. But I think the other big question that I pose to people who want to start nonprofit organizations is that how will you create a sustainable nonprofit? Because nonprofits come and Lord knows they go. They're much like a business. And so, what will you do to create a sustainable nonprofit? And I think perhaps one of the ways that people can create a sustainable nonprofit is to have some type of for profit business that lends support to the organization. But that's one of many ways that you can make your nonprofit sustainable. But that's something that you really want to consider and you really want to think about. So a little bit of checklist of things you'll need to do when you start your nonprofit organization is, decide on a name, register it with your state, make sure you get a tax ID number, open up a bank account because you want to make sure that the expenditures and revenue that's coming in as it relates to your nonprofit is separate from your personal. Because nonprofit is an organization, there will be other paperwork that you will have to file, and it is its own autonomous entity, and it is not you. And so you will make sure that you separate all that financial stuff. You want to recruit board members, and you want to develop a mission statement and purpose statement, and then make sure that you look into if your nonprofit needs any license or a permit. Make sure you have that kind of stuff, and then you'll want to create some bylaws, which I'm not going to really go into what bylaws are, but I will in the Business Academy. I do have a track just for nonprofit organizations, and I'll talk more specifically about all the different aspects of running a nonprofit organization, also how to successfully raise money and write grants. And then you'll have forms you'll need to fill out, and you'll need to be constantly thinking about fundraising, your programmatic goals. You'll have to create a budget, and then you'll establish articles of incorporation. And this is important because this is part of the paperwork that you're going to submit to the federal government in order to establish your 501c3, which is your nonprofit status. And that's why I ask people, like, who are you working with? What's going on? Because I don't think you can even have a nonprofit organization unless you have 3 to 5 people on board who are going to be part of your board and help you with the organization. And then also just make sure that you check around, just like you would for your business, check around for your competitors and make sure that there is an opportunity for you to offer something that no one else is doing, which is generally why people start nonprofit organizations. But lastly, I'm going to close with this. What do you ultimately want to achieve? And I think that's a really important question when you're thinking about your business and whether it's nonprofit or for profit. What do you ultimately want to achieve? And I think if you're able to articulate this in a way that really gets specific, you will discover whether or not nonprofit organization, you will discover in your heart of hearts if creating a nonprofit organization is the correct route for you. So I hope this has been a little bit helpful for you folks. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Once again, make sure you visit the website. So take really good care of yourselves, family. Peace and love.